She says she likes good men, but she chooses the bad ones. It always starts the same way. You're her best friend, the one she confides everything to, the one who's always there when she cries over other guys. And you wonder, why? Why is what she says she wants not what she chooses? Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists of the 20th century, devoted his entire life to studying the dark shadow within the human soul. He understood that what we think about ourselves, what we show to the world, and what we truly are three completely different things. And in this internal battle, nice guys are always the losers. Carl Gustav Jung was not an ordinary psychologist. Born in 1875 in Switzerland, he was first a student and later a rival of Freud, who revolutionized how we understand the human mind. But unlike Freud, who focused only on sexual desires, Jung went deeper. He discovered that every person carries within themselves masks, shadows, and hidden yearnings that even they don't recognize. Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is not the monster in the darkness, but the monster we dare not look at in the mirror." And nice guy syndrome is one of the perfect proofs of this truth. You know this story, don't you? You're the one who always listens to her, always there when she needs you, always caring and thoughtful. You open doors for her, pay for meals, and never do anything that might upset her. You are the good guy, by every definition of society. But she falls in love with those who treat her badly. People who never text back, guys who only call when they want something, men who don't care about her feelings. And you become the best friend, the safe person for her to confide about her other terrible relationships. Society often explains this phenomenon with statements like, "Women like bad boys," "They don't appreciate good men," or "Women are attracted to dangerous guys." These explanations sound reasonable, and they help nice guys feel like victims of an unfair world. But Jung warned us, the easiest way to deceive yourself is to always find fault in others. The truth about nice guy syndrome is much deeper and more painful than these surface explanations. Jung developed the concept of shadow, the dark side that every person carries within themselves but refuses to acknowledge. This shadow contains all the desires, motives, and characteristics that we consider forbidden or immoral. Nice guys have a very specific shadow: manipulation. Behind every kind action, behind every selfless help, lies a hidden expectation. They don't give unconditionally. They're investing. They're accumulating good points, hoping that one day they'll be repaid with love, sex, or recognition. Jung called this quid pro quo psychology. I do good for you. You must love me. But the terrible thing is that nice guys don't even realize they're manipulating. They've hidden their true motives to the point of successfully deceiving themselves. Jung also developed the concept of persona, the mask we wear to adapt to society. Nice guys have created a perfect mask, the ideal man, thoughtful, without flaws. But this is precisely the problem. Their mask is so perfect that it's no longer human. No one can truly connect with a kindness machine. Women sense this artificiality at an intuitive level, even when they can't put it into words. Jung once wrote, "The perfect mask always hides an empty soul." Nice guys cannot show their true personality because they fear that their real self isn't good enough. They live in constant fear that if someone sees the real person inside, they will be rejected. Jung discovered that every man carries in his unconscious an image of the ideal woman, called the anima. This image in nice guys is often distorted by unrealistic expectations and illusions about romantic love. They often project this ideal image onto specific women, turning them into perfect goddesses. They don't love the real person, but the ideal image they've created. This explains why nice guys often become obsessed with one specific woman and can't move on. They're not in love with her. They're in love with their own fantasy. Jung always emphasized the importance of individuation, the process of becoming one's true self. Nice guys do the complete opposite. They're individuating into the social mask, not the real person. Authenticity requires the courage to show both the good and bad sides of oneself. It requires the ability to say no, the ability to have one's own opinions, the ability to create conflict when necessary. Nice guys don't have these things. They always agree, always avoid conflict, always try to please everyone. But a person whose true thoughts, feelings, and desires you never know, how can you love them? You can only love a shadow, not a real person. Jung understood that human psychology operates through self-reinforcing loops. Nice guys fall into a particularly terrifying vicious cycle. They get rejected for lacking authenticity. They interpret this rejection as, I'm not good enough yet. They try to become better by becoming nicer. This makes them even less authentic, leading to more rejection. Each time they're rejected, they don't learn the right lesson. Instead of realizing they need to be more real, they think they need to be more fake. They add another layer of mask, another level of artificiality, pushing themselves further away from the real person they could become. Jung warned about the danger of suppressed emotions. Nice guys always suppress anger, disappointment, and resentment. They're not allowed to feel these emotions because they're not good. But these emotions don't disappear. They accumulate in the shadow, becoming a hidden mass of resentment. They begin to have toxic thoughts. I did everything for her. Why doesn't she love me? Women are ungrateful. This world isn't fair to good people. This resentment will eventually explode, often in very ugly ways. Nice guys can become misogynists, can become subtle manipulators, or worse, they can become violent. The most terrifying paradox of nice guy syndrome is that it self-sabotages the very thing nice guys want most, love and real connection. By refusing to show their true selves, they automatically eliminate the possibility of being truly loved. Jung once said, "What you resist will persist forever." They resist showing their flaws, negative emotions, and selfish desires. But this very resistance keeps them forever alone. Jung didn't offer easy solutions. He understood that the path to healing is the most difficult path, the path of truth. For nice guys, the first step is facing their shadow. You must admit that behind every kind action lies a selfish motive. You must look straight into the mirror and admit, I don't help her because I'm kind. I help her because I want her to love me. This doesn't mean you're evil. This means you're human. Jung wrote, only when you accept the monster within yourself can you become a complete person. Nice guys must learn to accept their selfish desires, negative emotions, and ungood thoughts. This isn't surrendering to darkness, but integrating it into a more complete personality. The next step is breaking the perfect mask. This requires tremendous courage because it means risking rejection. But Jung understood there's no other way. You must learn to say no. You must learn to have your own opinions, even when they might upset others. You must learn to express anger, disappointment, and disagreement in healthy ways. Jung didn't say you should become a jerk. He said you should become real, a person who can be kind, but also firm when necessary. A person with emotions, desires, and boundaries. Jung called this process individuation, becoming the unique individual you were born to be. For nice guys, this means abandoning the illusion that love can be bought with kindness. The individuation process requires you to love yourself before expecting others to love you. It requires you to have a full life, with interests, passions, and goals that don't depend on being loved by someone. Jung wrote, anyone who cannot live alone will never learn how to love. Nice guys often fear loneliness so much that they're willing to lose themselves to have companionship. But only when you're comfortable being alone can you truly be with someone else. Jung understood a truth that nice guys cannot accept. Love cannot be earned, cannot be bought, cannot be manipulated. Love can only be freely given to a real, authentic, complete person. When you try to earn love through kindness, you're turning love into a commercial transaction. But love isn't business. Love is art, magic, a connection between two real souls. Nice guys cannot create real connection because they don't allow anyone to see their true soul. They only show the mask, and no one can love a mask. Jung explains why bad boys often succeed more than nice guys, not because they're evil, but because they're more authentic. They don't hide their desires. They don't wear masks. They might be terrible, but they're real. A man who clearly shows what he wants, even if it's just sex, is at least honest about his motives. Nice guys pretend to want friendship while really wanting romance, pretend to be selfless while actually having a clear agenda. Women might reject a bad boy, but at least they know what they're rejecting. With nice guys, they often feel confused and uncomfortable without knowing why. The painful truth Jung wants nice guys to understand is, you don't fail because you're too good. You fail because you're not real. You fail because you're trying to buy love with performance instead of earning it through authenticity. You fail because you don't love yourself enough to believe your real self deserves to be loved. You think you have to become someone else to be loved, but this very thing makes it impossible for you to be truly loved. Jung always started with self-awareness. You must recognize your pattern. You must admit that you're manipulating others through kindness. You have hidden expectations. You're wearing a mask. You fear showing your real self. This isn't self-deprecation. This is recognizing truth so you can change. You must work with your shadow. This means accepting your selfish desires, acknowledging your anger and disappointment, learning to express negative emotions in healthy ways, stopping the suppression of what you consider not good. Jung said, "What you resist will persist forever. What you accept will be transformed." This is the hardest step. You must learn to say no when you don't want to do something. Express your true opinions even when they're unpopular. Set clear boundaries. Pursue what you really want, rather than what you think others want you to want. Accept conflict as a natural part of relationships. Jung understood that you can't give what you don't have. If you don't love yourself, you can't truly love anyone else, and you can't receive true love from others either. Self-love doesn't mean pathological narcissism. It means accepting yourself with all your flaws, having compassion for yourself, respecting your needs and desires, not sacrificing your identity for acceptance. Jung didn't promise this path would be easy. The individuation process is painful and requires tremendous courage. You'll have to face unpleasant truths about yourself. You'll have to risk being rejected by people who previously accepted you only because you were convenient. But this is the price of freedom. This is the price of living a real life, of having real relationships, of being loved for who you truly are, not for the mask you wear. There are nice guys who succeed in love, but they don't succeed because they're nice. They succeed because they're authentic. They're kind not because they want to get something, but because that's their true nature. They can say no. They have boundaries. They have backbone. They're nice, but they're also real. And it's this authenticity that makes them attractive. Jung has a final message for every nice guy reading these lines. Until you dare to show your real self, you will forever be alone in a crowd of people who don't really know who you are. Until you dare to risk being rejected for your true self, you will only be accepted for the fake mask you wear. Until you dare to love yourself first, you will never understand what true love is. Jung's path of individuation doesn't promise you'll get the girl. It promises something more valuable. You'll get yourself back. And only then can you truly connect with someone else. So the final question isn't, why doesn't she love me? The final question is, when will I dare to love myself enough to show who I really am? Jung has shown the way, but only you can walk it. Do you dare?